Hello again. Today we're going to talk about something very special, something which might help you in your life a lot. There is on this planet what we call social people. Unfortunately, there is also a very small minority of the people who are not so social in their behavior. We call them today antisocial people. Luckily, this is only 2.5%. So 2.5% of the world's population approximately is antisocial, or at least shows for the majority in their life antisocial behavior. While 80% of the people, and this is extremely good news, is social. They have another type of behavior. Now you might ask me, where is the 17.5%? Well, that's a good question. Actually, they don't know where they are. Today they're doing very well in their life. Tomorrow they have an accident. The day afterwards they're doing very well in their life. The day afterwards they have an accident. The day after they're doing very well in their life. The day after they are ill. They are doing ups and downs. And they create problems for others. That's why we call them potential trouble sources, or abbreviated PTS. Now, a potential trouble source, some people might think, oh God, they are born for bad luck. Now, with all my respect for God, Allah, Buddha, and all other identities people believe in, it doesn't come from heaven, this luck. People create it. Actually, a potential trouble source is under influence of an antisocial person somehow, and either doesn't see it or doesn't know what to do about it. So you have the antisocial people, this is approximately 2.5%. You have the social people, which is more than 80%, and then you have the potential trouble sources in the middle, which is around 17%. Now you in your life, or you in your business, when you live or you work with an antisocial person, life might become very difficult. That's why it's important to realize who are those people, who are your friends and who are not your friends. Because if you don't see the antisocial person, you might wrongly act, you might start to make errors in your life, etc. Now, I went in 1986 in America, and I was a student there. At that moment, social behavior was to go out on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Antisocial behavior was to sit and to write down everything the professor said. I don't know in your country, but in Belgium and in America, this was certainly the case. I went not so long ago to Colombia, Bogota. Now in Bogota, social behavior, when you see a drug dealer, is to not telephone the police, to do like this. While antisocial behavior is to telephone the police. It's changing right now, but in the past this was the case. I regularly go to Tatarstan, Uzbekistan, to the stans. Now in those countries, social behavior is to have many women. Antisocial behavior is only to have one wife. I tell you this because there is, in my opinion, as much definitions of social and antisocial behavior as there is people on this planet. So we are not going to discuss whether one opinion is better than another. The only thing, what I'm going to tell you now, is the 12 characteristics of the social personality, what we are calling today social personality, and the 12 characteristics of what we're going to call today the antisocial personality. But before I'm going to explain you this, I would like you to very, very carefully listen now. While I'm giving you this data, I would love you not to stop in the middle of what I'm going to say. The reason is basically simple. If you're stopping this video before the end of what I'm going to say, at that moment, the chance you become a potential trouble source increases very much. And I don't want you to fall from the stairs or to have an accident. Do you understand? So, from now on, you keep watching and listening till the end of this chapter. Okay? Thank you. Now, let's start with the antisocial people. As I told you, this is 2.5%. They have 12 characteristics, while the social has also 12 characteristics, but just in the opposite. As you can see on the slides here, the first characteristic of an antisocial personality is that he or she generalizes. This is a person who continuously says things like, you know what everyone thinks about you? It's always the same with you. Women, politicians, workers, managers, and those kind of expressions are continuously used. So an antisocial person is continuously generalizing. And when you ask an antisocial person, who is everyone? They cannot answer you. They cannot be really specific. From now on, when someone is generalizing, you can ask this person, what do you mean with everyone? Can you give me one person? Or what do you mean with every time? Can you give me one example? Well, if the person in front of you cannot do this, the chance he or she is antisocial is very big. The second characteristic of an antisocial person, and I will show you this later again in the slides, is that he or she always makes people less. They invalidate people. They invalidate people either openly, like, it's always the same with you, you can't do anything. Or more nicely, like, oh, if I were you, I would not be so ambitious because, do you understand? They continuously make other people smaller. And they have to in their mind because they think that the others would otherwise become bigger and have a problem or create a problem for the survival of the person himself. Third characteristic of the antisocial personality is when they receive good news, they stop it immediately. When they receive bad news, they make it bigger and spread it out. For instance, in a company, one client telephones and he is very happy. Nobody knows about this when you have an antisocial person taking the phone. On the other hand, when one client telephones, one of the 5,000, and he is very, very unhappy, well, the antisocial person will spread it out and make it even bigger. All our clients think we are too expensive. Doesn't happen in your company, right? These kind of things. Next characteristic of an antisocial person, and I will show you later on in the slides again the characteristics so that you have time to reread them. Next characteristic of an antisocial person is basically they cannot improve. They are ill. You give them classical medicine, homeopathy, naturopathy, or whatever kind of pathy, they are not improving. In a job, today they make an error, tomorrow they make the same error, and the day afterwards the same, and the same, and the same. They basically cannot improve. When they come to a seminar or when they go to school, they believe that people cannot improve. So they go to a seminar or go to school with the intention to get a certificate or to show to the others that they know everything and they are the best. While if you think you can improve, if you think you can understand something better, you're definitively not antisocial. The next characteristic of an antisocial is a very difficult one, meaning if you have people in a family and there is one antisocial person in the family, you have misery, drug addiction, alcohol problems, illnesses, etc., etc. And when this person goes out of this family, the family goes better. Similar in a company. When you have an antisocial person entering a company, sometimes the same day the fax breaks, the computer has a problem, you have an inspection, things break, problems start to appear. And by magic, when the person goes away, things go better. Sometimes it's real magic when you say, wow, how is this possible? The sixth characteristic of an antisocial person is that he or she cannot really see the target of a problem and at the same time, the reason of a problem, I would like to say, and at the same time, the target of what has to be changed. But before explaining you this, I would like to explain you something different. You have logic and illogic. Now, logic is the aptitude to see differences, like my hand is different from my costume. Similarities, like this hand is similar to that hand. And identities, like this side is the same as this side. Now, this is logic. Logic is the aptitude to see similarities, differences, and identities. While an antisocial person doesn't have this aptitude. An antisocial person thinks basically illogical, meaning the following. They think that everything looks the same as everything else. They think in identities. So, whenever there is a problem, for instance, a machine breaks, since they think illogically, they cannot see what is the real reason of the breakage of the machine. So they will give the reason to something or someone else. They will say, oh, it's the manager again. Oh, it's always the same person who is doing this. Or the machine is stupid. Or whatever kind of things. Sometimes very humoristic. That also means that they cannot find a solution for this problem. While a social person might try to look at the real reason and at the real solution. Next characteristic is also very interesting and should be used as a test when you look whether a person is social or not social. An antisocial person cannot finish a cycle of action, cannot finish something. You know, when you ask an antisocial person an exact task, you ask a person to put a bottle of water on your table in the middle. Well, an antisocial person can take a lot of bottles, you know. This is no problem. They can start lots of things. Actually, they can start as the best lots of things. And an antisocial person can also continue and do things a lot. The point, however, is that the bottle will never be exactly as the place demanded. It's in the end result where you have the problem with an antisocial person. You know, other example. Imagine you have a time clock in your office and you start at 8 o'clock and you end around 5. Now an antisocial person will come at 7:30 before the others, you know, and tick the time clock and start working, being very, 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 very busy, especially when you enter the company. He or she will be very busy. And at the end of the day, will always go half an hour later than the others. And feel not ashamed for not having finished anything. Now, if you think that this is work, well, take another look at the definition of work. You are paying people to end something, not to look very busy. Take another example of a social personality. Let's take a woman with 2 kids. So the woman comes in 8:30, a little bit later, because she has 2 kids, she has to take care of and bring them to school. She works, sometimes she looks less busy. But at the end of the day, she takes also 15 minutes earlier. She goes home 15 minutes earlier. Now if you don't see the difference between real work and busyness, you might say bye to the wrong people. And especially in a crisis situation, the antisocial person will come to you and say, boss, I'm always here before the others. Boss, I'm always going after the others. I continuously work very, very, very hard. And if you do not see the difference between end results and busyness, you might say bye to the wrong person in a crisis situation. An antisocial person actually is an expert in showing busyness, especially when you are around. So, make sure that in your company, people have end results, measurable, so that you can see if they get end results or not. And don't look too much at how busy a person is or how much he talks. Look at what is the results, the end results. The next characteristic number 8, is the following. An antisocial person doesn't feel ashamed of big crimes and just openly says so. This is the kind of person who says, yes, I killed these people, they deserved it. Things went automatically. And they will not feel ashamed for that. They will just talk about this as if it is natural. While a social person might be ashamed when he or she did something not correct. Characteristic number 9, an antisocial personality will help destructive groups. Now, what is a destructive group? I think personally that you have enough wisdom and knowledge to see for yourself what it is. In any way, an antisocial person will be busy with destructive actions. And the next characteristic, which is the groups, you have number 9, which is an antisocial person will be busy with destructive groups. And number 10, an antisocial person will be busy with destructive actions. They are similar, these 2 points. Characteristic number 11 is very interesting. You can also use it when you check if a person is social or not. An antisocial person cannot really help. They become crazy when you ask them for real help. Now, some of the antisocial people have a big mask, so you don't necessarily see it immediately. But if you do the following, if you see a person and you say, oh, my friend, can you help me, please? Could you do this for me? A very simple thing. And don't listen to what the person says, but look at the end results. An antisocial person with a big mask will start, discussing this. Like, what do you mean? You need it now? How? Why? And will not feel so well, but will not necessarily show it. The fact is that an antisocial person will not finish this and not help you. While a social person will do this. A social person will try to help you. Do you see? Now, without the mask, when you ask for help, an antisocial person will become very nervous and say, why do you need my help? Can you not do it yourself? They become crazy when they really need to help people. Or when other people help people, they become crazy. Now, if an antisocial person can pervert help to make people less, they love to do this. Meaning the following, they can tell you, my friend, you look so tired. Why are you so ambitious? Work less. Or, my friend, you work for this salary in this company. Why do you do this? Can't you not do this for a little bit? Can't you not work a little bit less for the same salary? In an extreme case, you might have a person, and one of the beautiful examples is Schindler's List. You have a doctor in white, and there is Jewish people coming, and this doctor says very nicely, oh, my little lady, you're tired. You better take a shower, and she's killed. This antisocial person loves to do. So on the one hand, they cannot help, but on the other hand, if help is used to make people less, they love it. The last characteristic of the 12, an antisocial person doesn't believe in property. Believes basically that property does not exist and is invented to fool people. That means the following, they will steal without knowing that they steal. While a social person knows what is property. An antisocial person will steal things, and then if you say, hey, this is mine, in an extreme case they might say, property does not exist. You are the problem. Do you understand? One of the examples of the 12th characteristic is in a car factory. There was a boss who told me, Marc, I pay 3,000 euro per month for coffee. And I asked him how much people you have, and he said 20. Hyperactive, right? Now, we looked a little bit around and we saw in the drawer of one of the persons coffee capsules. And when we asked this person, what does this do here? He said, I don't know, it's from everyone. And this guy didn't even have the correct coffee machine at home to use the capsules. Do you understand? They steal without knowing that they steal. They think everything belongs to everyone. Another example in Russia, a guy with a cart to take benzene, 10,000 euro per month. Now, Russia is big, I agree, but 10,000 euro per month is a bit special, at least enough to watch a little bit deeper what's happening. So we asked this man, how come 10,000 euro per month? And then we saw that the cart was giving to the wife, to the friends. Do you understand? An antisocial person does not believe in property. Now, so to repeat very fast, and you can see on the slides here, an antisocial person has 12 exact characteristics. Please take some time to read those slides. And now the next slide. This is the characteristics of an antisocial personality. Now, if you recognize yourself in one of those 12 characteristics, it is 100% sure that you're not antisocial. Let me explain. If you were thinking of yourself, oh my God, I sometimes generalize. Oh my God, I do not always finish my job. I don't want to help always. Or I also have coffee capsules in my drawer. This is actually good news. An antisocial person cannot see that from himself. An antisocial person, when he or she reads the 12 characteristics, says, this is everyone else, not me. While a social person, like you, when you read these characteristics, you say, yeah, I did something like that. That's good news. So you're not antisocial. However, there might be around you, at some moments, some antisocial people. And they have the majority of those characteristics for the majority of their life. Now, before you're taking your Kalashnikov M16 or Beretta, please listen carefully. Do not create a witch hunt. We are now not in 1470. The auto de fe or the Inquisition are finished. We are living in the 21st century. So don't put your attention too much to the antisocial people. It's the social people who need your attention. It's with those people that you create a better company or a better world or a better family. So please put your attention to the social people. The social people have also 12 characteristics for the majority of their life. And those characteristics are just the reverse of the antisocial. They do not generalize. They try to be specific. And if they generalize, and if you ask them to be specific, they can be specific. A social person does not necessarily make others continuously smaller. He brings them up. A social person, when he hears good news, when he hears good news, gives it over very fast and spread it out. Negative news is mostly stopped or diminished a bit. A social person can improve in job, in study, in life. And when they're ill and you give them the correct medicine, they go better in life. A social person, around this person, you have people in their life who succeed, who do well actually. A social person will try to find the real reason of a problem and will find a solution which is workable. A social person, as much as possible, will try to finish his cycles. And if he's not finishing his cycles, will not feel bad, will not feel good about it, will feel actually bad about it. A social person, when he or she did some crime, will not openly talk about it, but will feel ashamed. A social person will help constructive groups and will be busy with constructive actions. And when you ask help to a social person, and if he can do this, he will definitely say yes and try to help you. A social person believes in property, and when he or she steals, knows that he or she steals. And that's just the reverse, you understand? So if in your life you might have a person you think might be antisocial, here is what I advise you to do. You take a piece of paper, and in the middle of this paper you draw a vertical line. On the left side you write social, and on the right side you write antisocial. And in the middle you write I don't know or question mark. And you're doing the following. Imagine you think about George or about Natasha, who might be antisocial. So, I will show you now the slides of the social personality. And now the next slide. Did you understand it? You can download this if you want. After this exercise is done, you will see whether the person is social. That means the majority of the characteristics you have checked is yes, so that's a social person. Or the person is not social or antisocial. That means the majority of the antisocial characteristics say yes. And if there is 5, 5, 4, 4, or if you are too much in the middle, look at it, because there might be some PTS condition. Now, an antisocial person, what to do with this person? Well, there is a very specific thing you can do with this person, which we can learn you, and for that you have to contact us, because there is a specific thing you can do with that. But for now, the only thing what you do with these people is what we call good weather, good roads, or extreme diplomacy. You always talk nice. You find something they can be right in. Why? Because those people cannot be wrong. And if you show them they are wrong, you create a war. So for now, with those people, you just somehow diplomatically talk about the good weather, the good roads, very light conversation. Right? But if you really want to handle an antisocial person, if you really don't know what to do and you're suppressed continuously or invalidated continually by these people, come and see us, because we can help you. On the other side, if you see that the person is a potential trouble source, or if you see that you're doing too much ups and downs, you immediately contact us, because there is a special coaching session to be done and some specific materials to be read. And for the rest, put your attention on the social people. 80% of the people around you are social, and help them and create together with them, because those people need your help. Now, if you want to know more, as I said already, contact us, because there is much more to know about this. Success!